What is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video we're taking a look at the new KIZUNA and the Super Boss KIZUNA for Monkey D. Luffy that will be arriving on the 19th of July Pacific Standard Time over on OPTC Global and Japan, and taking a look at what each of the 10-star difficulty does. Now, I'm not going to break down the 15-star. As you guys know, the Super Boss KIZUNA can get a little bit competitive. This one, probably not so much, honestly, for my guys anyway. Like, we'll still go our general playstyle, but, like, we're not going to be going too crazy. Modders have made Super Boss KIZUNA a little bit unbearable, if I'm completely honest with you. And just, like, not having these, like, batch of units can make things a little bit challenging as well. You need stuff like the support units nowadays to do the max damage teams, but stay tuned. We'll probably stream a little bit of it because we're not going as competitive as what we would normally do. But, hey, who knows? My homies, we've got some good players, so we might not. But in today's video, as I mentioned, we are going to break down the 10-star event. And in today's video, I have one team versus all teams for you guys that will basically cover you for a very long time. So you want to get as many Super Boss tokens. I don't have the KIZUNA rare recruits in my teams, but we'll talk about sort of where you can slide them in. I don't even really know what the Brook does. I do have Usopp, and I'll talk about which team I'll be using. But in today's video, it's more to help you guys that didn't do any summons. If you enjoyed the video, though, make sure to go down there and hit the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button as well. But with that said, let's take a look at the 3 one-team versus alls. Alright, so huge shout out to the OPTC Twitter. I'll leave a link in the description below. If I forget, I do apologize. But they have been releasing these infographics for the 10-star event, which is really, really handy. And they also actually have the 15-star event here as well. Now, this is going to be the Super Boss, but as I mentioned, we aren't going to go into that today. Now, if you guys want to have a look at this, take a look at this. And if you guys want me to make a couple teams for you guys with just some ideas for each of these, like, Super Boss, let me know in the comment section below. And if I get the time, I might get around to it. But I've just been so busy with work this last week that I've barely been able to make some videos for you guys. So thanks for sticking around with me. I do appreciate the patience. And hopefully life has been well and dandy for you guys as well. But as I mentioned in today's video, we're focusing on the 10-star events. Now, to build these one team versus alls, basically what you want to do is you want to bring a strength, dex, and quick team, as well as having free spirits or powerhouse. Now, all of those characters get cooldowns no matter what variation you go up against. However, if you bring like a slasher cerebral that is strength, dex, and quick, namely like something like Carrot Wonder, that can also work as well, but it does take a little bit more brain power when you are building teams. The first variation is a strength variation. And I gotta say, this 10-star event, honestly, is like really challenging. It's one of probably the worst KIZUNAs I've seen in a little while. But at the same time, content needs to get harder because we do have power creeps, we have stronger legends, we have stronger characters. So content does need to get more challenging. Like, it's just the law of the gacha world. On stage 2 of the strength fight, you get 5 turns of paralysis. So this fight is very, very good for Black Maria. If you have Black Maria as a captain, you can get around the 5 turns of paralysis. But you also have Iso and Kiku and Law. There are other really good options as well. On the boss fight for each of these all have penguins. This fight has 2 strength penguins. Then there's dex penguins, and then there's quick penguins, which is a little bit interesting. I wonder if their HP will scale. I hope it doesn't, but look, it might. There is 99 turns of immunity, except for delay immunity. And as I mentioned, Usopp and Brook are actually the boosted units, the KIZUNA boosted units. And Brook has this weird mechanic where he can actually give you extra damage to delayed enemies. So bringing him as a friend captain for all of these fights is actually very, very good, as he's a 4.5 times rainbow captain. He's free spirit. I mean, he gets his cooldowns anyway, but he also can delay and give it a conditional against delay, which is really good for this fight, as well as also removing stuff like threshold. He removes resilience. He's a very, very good character for these fights. But on this stage as well, there's also type change. So the enemy has a type change, which is very, very annoying. Changes into dex or quick, or stays as strength. So it's going to be either strength, dex, or quick. It is what it is. It's very annoying. And honestly, a random type change is it's a bit of a low blow. There's 5 turns of threshold, 5 turns of special bind, and when you hit level 30 or when the boss is over a certain HP threshold, it becomes 6 turns of threshold and 6 turns of special bind. So another really good option here is using something like Vivi, using something like Ace and Yamato. You could even use Ace Sabo, any character that can also remove special bind in their captain ability. Or something that can remove paralysis will definitely work there too. Onto the dex variation, free spirits, powerhouse, slashes get their cooldowns. You get 2 turns of special reverse on your sailors and 3 turns of locking specials until 3 good taps on stage 2. So basically you want to bring someone to give you cooldowns, whether that's your captain, like who's pretty much like really good for this fight, or utilizing a sailor that can get around special reverse. The boss has 2 Dex penguins, and then does a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of shit. 99 turns of immunity except for defense down. So you can set the defense to 0, which is good because there's 5 turns of defense up and 6 turns after level 30. So it's really good that you can set the defense to 0. That can just nullify that defense up, and it really helps when you are team building. There is a barrier though, a strength, dex, or quick barrier for 1 tap, but it's 5 turns of a barrier. 5 turns of a barrier is very, very annoying. There's not a lot of characters that can remove 5 turns of a barrier. You get unfavorable slots. There's 5 turns of resilience, 5 turns of defense up, interrupting specials for end of turn damage. So you basically have to remove this resilience. You can't poison, you can't burn, you can't do end of turn damage. You have to remove the resilience, which is just like... It makes all those characters that remove 6 turns of resilience very valuable, but there are some very good characters that can get around this. The beneficial effects or accumulated values are removed, and you get 5 turns of Shipbind. Finally, Shipbind is, like, actually in the game. It's something that came in and just never got used, but now it's actually here, and it's something we have to get around. After level 30, or once the boss hits a certain HP, the resilience becomes 6 turns, the defense up becomes 6 turns as well. But remember, you can set the defense to 0, which is very, very handy, as, what's it called? It's very, very handy because if you set the defense to 0, you are in a really, really good spot, there. On to the final variation, against Monkey D. Luffy with the Quick Boss. He's, Free Spirits, Powerhouse, and Cerebral characters get cooldowns, but if you build this team, whether it's, all Free Spirit, you'll have it all covered there, so you're pretty much good. All Powerhouse can work too. On Battle 2, there's 2 turns of Paralysis, 50% damage cuts, and then there's a defeated action for 50,000 damage, which is very, very annoying. This stage here is going to be very, very challenging to get around, unless you have some way of just either doing, like damage reduction, or if you have some way of healing, or doing something like that. Now, for my teams, I do need to see what the damage threshold is in terms of, like, how much HP you have. But I have sort of taken this into account for some of the teams. We'll basically talk about it once we get to the actual teams. But this is going to make things very, very challenging for some people's team building. Onto the boss stage, there's 2 quick penguins. Now, obviously, this fight is sort of built for double Sasuke, as you can see. All of these are built for the Toby Roppo. You get a slot change of all recovery orbs. There's 99 turns of immunity. 8 turns of despair, which you go down to 5 with sockets, and attack down if you have a less than 2.9 times chain multiplier for 5 turns. Once you hit a certain threshold of HP, or level 30, which is when that changes over, the despair turns into 6 turns of despair, and you get 5 turns of unfavorable orbs, which is, yeah, pretty interesting. So, as you guys can see, that's what the boss does. Hopefully you guys can put together a team, but as I mentioned, I do have 3 one team versus all for you guys that do actually get this job done. Wow, words are hard. That do get the job done. So let's take a look at the teams now, and let's dive into the team building. Alright, so diving into the teams, I gotta say, I actually really like this Luffy's art. I'm not a huge fan of what the actual character does. If you guys want to check out what the character does, head over to the Discord. But to get the Luffy, you got to do the Super Boss, and he does have a 5+, and this is what it looks like. But the first team looks a little bit like this. Now, it is led by our boy Law. We do have Strength, Dex, and Quick characters on the team, so all of them get their cooldown for the first stage. It's full Free Spirit, which is great for the second stage, and third stage, you get Free Spirits as well. However, we do have Carrot and Wanda here. Carrot and Wanda, they are a Cerebral and a Slasher. Now, Cerebrals get cooldowns on the second stage. I'm pretty sure. Maybe it's the third stage. And Slashers get cooldowns on the vice versa. So, they actually get their cooldowns as well, which is very, very nice. They also have Barrier Pen. And they have a special that can, like, let them go through barriers. But they also have, like, the special reverse mechanic, which is pretty nice. I sort of just wanted to include them here, just to show you that they're a very good unit. But with all these teams that you see, as I mentioned, Usopp is your friend captain. Make sure you ring Usopp. He's a 4.5 times captain for your entire crew, as well as having this ability to give a conditional against delayed enemies, which obviously stacks with his special that is going to delay, as well as giving you that conditional boost as well, which is pretty nice. Hello? He also has the ability to remove Threshold. He also has the ability to remove Resilience. So for one of these teams, he actually works out pretty nicely. For my team, I'm probably just going to slap him on this particular team. See how we go there and basically just go sweet as. However, it all depends on how much damage that half HP cut does to me. And how much HP I have to tank the 50k damage threshold. However, I'm pretty sure I can use Nami. I actually can't. Never mind. I'll see if there's maybe a support or something like that that I can use for that final variation to try and get some damage reduction. And if you guys can think of something in the comment section below, feel free to hit me up, because any way to improve these teams I'm always open for. Law does heal, however, then I lose my attack booster, and that could be pretty detrimental. But nevertheless, I do have Usopp. Unfortunately, if I had to have one, I would love Brook, because then I could just like bring a Usopp friend captain. But it is what it is. But with Law as our captain, Law is basically going to remove the paralysis with his captain ability. He's a very, very good captain, and mine's actually rainbowed, so I have the super tandem effect because I have a Luffy on the team as well, which is very, very nice. He's also my attack booster. He gives cooldowns to Cerebrals and Free Spirits, which is great. He does a whole bunch of chain shenanigans, and he can heal as well, so that's always super, super nice. Next, we've got Born Clay on the team. Now, this KIZUNA Born Clay is an absolute demon for this particular KIZUNA, because he removes 6 turns of Threshold, 6 turns of Resilience, and he removes 6 turns of Special Blind, which is basically, like, for the final stage, is perfect for all of the stages. And if you have someone that removes Paralysis, like Law as your captain, Bon Clay basically does all of the rest of the debuffs, except for the Despair. And basically for the Despair on this particular team, I'm just bringing Anniversary Luffy. Now, Anniversary Luffy obviously has a very good, what's it called? Super Tandem as well. So that is another option for you. However, I just don't have the requirements to get Luffy to proc his Super Tandem ability, because I don't have another Straw Hat on the team. However, because I do have Barrier Pen with this particular Usopp on my team, I could possibly use Nami and Robin, blah, blah, blah. You know, that unit there, the Anniversary unit that came out with all of the, what's it called? This particular Nami, Robin, and Boa, because they actually have Barrier Pen as well, which is very, very nice, and they can heal. The healing on stage 2 is actually going to be really, really nice for that, what's it called stage, on where you, like, cop the 50% hit. So they're going to be really nice there. They're a very big color affinity booster, but this Bon Clay also does color affinity as well. So it just works really, really nicely for this team. If you basically have the right-hand side, you're covered for all of the debuffs there, basically, and the rest you sort of, like, you're pretty much Gucci for, besides the special cooldown. However, Luffy actually gives cooldowns with his special as well. Law actually gives cooldowns, so you could also do some cheeky shenanigans with something like Brûlé. Brûlé can give you 2 turns of cooldown on the final stage. Or you can even do something like Mistims. Mistims is another really good option. Mistims can get around the special reverse. And he actually gives damage reduction. Now that I'm thinking about it, this will actually work for paralysis as well. So you could easily put Mistims on this team as well to actually get that damage reduction and be covered for that huge, like, death hit. So that actually works really, really nicely. I'll probably actually do that instead. Because Carrot 1's switch ability is just so nice to actually just tear through stage 2. Because stage 2 can actually have a lot of HP. It can actually be very, very annoying. On stage 2, though, on stage 3 of one of the stages, there is a barrier. So that's where Carrot and Wanda come into play. Carrot and Wanda giving cooldowns as well is very, very nice. You can switch with them. They're another orb boosting option, which is awesome. But with their special, they actually go through barriers, which is super, super handy. They set defense to 0 so they can get around the defense up shenanigans. However, with the Super Tandem of Law, you always have a conditional boost thanks to his Super Tandem ability and his Super Class. With his Super Class, you have a Luffy on the team. You can set the defense to 0 as long as you start with Law first, and it all works out pretty hunky-dory. So this is the team that I'm going to rock with. We have the Mr. 1 support to give a chain boost, just to sort of hit us, get us to that sort of chain boundary effect. But as I mentioned, Carrot Wanda, now that I'm looking at this team, like, Carrot Wanda probably replaceable with another Barrier Pen unit, or maybe a unit that can just remove 5 turns of barriers. The next team we have is actually a pretty big old, like, whaling and very heavy support-centric team. Now, I'm using Ace Yamato as my captain, but Ace Sabo is another really, really good option here. I have a whole bunch of supports to get around all the Despair, but if you use Ace Sabo and you just, like, time your switches, you can get around the Special Bind and the Despair. We have Kinemon and Denjiro here. Their switch ability can actually give a extra damage for slashes. as well as be our orb booster, which is super nice, as well as give base stats, and they can remove the defense up. So they do a bunch for this team, which is really cool. They're a very good unit. The Robin, the Nami, and Boa unit, as I mentioned in the previous team, like when I was sort of talking about them, they're great for stage 2 of the third variation against the quick variation, namely because they can heal and they can remove paralysis, but they're here to remove the paralysis on 2 different stages of stage 2. They also give cooldowns at the start, which is very nice. Next, we've got Zoro. Now, Zoro's here because he can remove Threshold, as well as be our color affinity booster for the stage that we don't have the Nami, Robin, and Boa, which is very nice. And then with this Chopper support, we can actually remove more Thresholds, so that way we get the 6 turns. Finally, we've got this Sanji unit. Now, Sanji is going to be our chain boosting unit. He also removes paralysis too, so you could also use him. He also removes special bind, so he's another really good option to get around some special binding stuff. But remember, all of that goes up to like 6 turns, so it is a little bit annoying when it comes to the team building with these units. However, with the support of Germa, you can actually get a full board of tandem slots. Now, for this team to work, you do get a full board of unfavorable slots after level 30 on that quick variation. So having the Germa support actually gives you a full board of orbs, which is great to get through the slot barrier on the what's it called stage. You can switch with on the middle one, the Dex one. You can actually switch with your Ace Yamato and your Kinemon Denjiro to give yourself a quick orb and then either a strength or a dex orb, depending on which one you need. But remember that the waifus, they also have barrier pen. We have supports with Whitebeard, Kinemon, no, not Kinemon, Kanjuro, and Morley to remove the 6 turns of despair, which is really nice. And this team should work fairly nicely with an Usopp friend captain. It should do fairly well, I imagine. But don't stress, I'm going to test all these teams. So maybe just wait a little bit for some videos to come out. And remember, Suicide Strat is the way. The final team utilizes the Toby Roppo. I really just want to include the Toby Roppo in this video. I wouldn't really recommend this team, especially over these 2 teams. I think this team probably works the best, in my opinion, because that right-hand column basically just covers you for everything you need to worry about. But I did want to include the Toby Roppo because the Toby Roppo are sort of built for each particular stage. So I decided to chuck them all on one team and then just use some other units to get around the rest. Now, with Who's Who is our captain, we can get around the resilience, which is very nice, thanks to his end of turn damage, because remember, you can't apply end of turn damage. He also gives a chain boost, he gives 2 turns of cooldowns, and he's a color affinity booster for your team, which is very nice. His captain ability, as long as you have strength, dex, and quick, which you obviously do thanks to the Toby Roppo themselves. Sasaki's going to be great to tank that death hit, but it also depends on how much HP we have. We might not need it. However, if we do need it, we're going to lose our attack boost, so this team might not work too well. Black Maria is our orb booster here. She is also going to delay, which gives us a huge conditional. Remember, we are using Usopp as our friend captain. Usopp is going to remove the resilience. He's going to remove the threshold as well, so there is that option for you. But all of these teams basically operate without an Usopp. Actually, except for this team here. Like, you need Usopp for this team to remove the resilience properly. So that's something to note. I think, Threshold you're sort of covered for because you have Zoro, but you don't even really need Zoro because of Usopp for this team. However, with this team, you can get around everything. The final unit is, sorry, not the final unit. We have Law. Law can remove the paralysis. He also removes resilience as well for this particular team, but like I said, you need 6 turns, which is very annoying. He removes 5 turns of bind, despair, and paralysis. Now, you do need 6 turns of despair, so I do have a level 1 Corazon. This is where having like level 1 of very good supports is great, because Corazon can actually get around that, which is super nice. But at level 3 or higher, he does paralysis, which is going to trigger too early, so you do need to be careful there. Finally, we have a Shiradoji. Now, Shiradoji's on a huge cooldown, like he's a monster 24 turns. However, he's a powerhouse and he's a quick unit, so he gets his cooldowns. Then we also have Who's Who that's giving 2 turns of cooldowns on his captain, and then he also gives 2 turns of cooldown with his special, so that's another 4 turns. On top of sockets and all that other stuff, we should be ready to go thanks to the Odin support. Now, again, I have to test all this, but we'll have to sort of see what's going on. We'll have to basically see what's going on there, you know. But nevertheless, these teams should work. This is the team that I'm probably going to rock. We may tweak them here and there, but let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Remember to suicide strat as much as you can. Help out your teammates. I will look at sort of doing some Marco teams for some assists and stuff like that as well. But remember, you just want to bring as many point boosters as you can. and then sort of just Suicide Strap for the rest of everyone else. Let me know, like I said, let me know if you have any thoughts and opinions in the comment section below that could help out these teams, or let me know what you guys are going to be running down there in the comment section. I'll hopefully be down there, provided when I get a little bit more time. Thanks for being so patient with the channel, guys. I really appreciate all of you guys. Make sure to belt the like button, hit that big red subscribe button if you've done so already. But most importantly, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Later!